My name is Ed DeVoe. I am a member of the Beachmont Improvement Committee and a member of the Planning Committee for the Louis Pasteur renovated playground. So welcome all of you here. This is such a great day for all of us. There are a couple of people and organizations I want to recognize. Hopefully the list I have is complete, but that really helped us make this all come together. And speakers today will be also reiterating some of these. But I wanted to make sure we didn't leave anybody out at this point. But relative to the building of the park, there were a lot of people that donated coffee, food, donuts, yada, 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 while we were doing the building, the sandwiches and the lunches that came in. Luigi's donated. We had Dunkin' Donuts, State Road Liquors. We weren't drinking alcohol. 7 Days Store, Beachmont Liquors, another one. They donated the ice. Heidi's. And people who actually donated money to help fund it. Donna Wood Pruitt being one, the Singer family, and Stephen Ciambelli were three people that were identified to me that actually donated some money to help us buy things during that day. So I wanted to make sure we gave a shout out to them. Other recognitions I wanted to mention was thanking the state and the city for getting us in a position for this grant to do this beautiful park. The DPW for all the work they've done. They've been instrumental. Parks and Recreation Department, again, Frank Stringy, and working with Dimple Rana and the Revere on the Move team, who, again, have been incredible. I have to say, and I keep saying it all week long, I said she's an angel. Thank God we had her and the team, from the Revere on the Move, helping us, put the final pieces of this all together. The Mercurio brothers and their crew, incredible. So much work went into this. There were so many surprises, unwanted surprises, in digging the holes here in this park. And with their help, the DPW, we overcame a lot of that stuff. The 30 to 40 people who came out to build this park in those 3 days that we did all of the work. Incredible what an outpouring in support there. Tommy Feely and his grill. No great Beachmont event takes place without Tommy Feely and his sausages and his grill and his onions and peppers. I want to do a special shout out to Susan Colarusso and her family. Susan lives in this house right over here and for years has watched over this park with her family. Her father used to close this park every night at sunset and open it up in the morning. She and her sons are going to take on that role and that commitment with this park going forward. She will be the eyes and ears, one of the eyes and ears, and there are many others around. Again, I mentioned the Beachmont Improvement Committee and Dimple and Revere on the Move. You guys were just great. Before we move on to the other speakers, I also want to recognize the people, dignitaries who are here. Councilor at Large, Bob Hass. Thank you so much, Bob. School Committee woman, Donna Wood Pruitt. And legislative aide to the Speaker of the House, Barbara Bishop. That being said, I'm now going to turn it over to Mayor Dan Rizzo.
Ed, thank you very much, and thank all of you for being here. It's absolutely amazing walking into this park now, after its renovations and its revitalization, and think about what it looked like before. It really is a complete transformation. I'm so proud to be standing here. This being the second park that we've been able to renovate as a result of this Common Backyard Grant through the Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs. It's just a tremendous program. It brings the neighborhoods together. I know back a few months ago we were able to renovate DeSalvo Park over on the west side of the city, and now we're here today, obviously, at Louis Pasteur Park, where it's just tremendous. It's so heartwarming for me to see the kids out here playing in a clean, safe environment. And, to know that really without the help, without the real partnership that took place with Revere on the Move, the City of Revere, and the Commonwealth to make this all work, it really could not have happened. It was kind of interesting, all these shout-outs that Ed gave to everybody, the Mercurio brothers and all the others, our Public Works Department. The first person who got a hand was Tom Feely and his grill. So, so we know where our priorities lie here as a group, don't we? But nonetheless, this really, part of this program, I think what makes it really so special is that the secretary and her department looks to this grant not just to provide money and go build a park and everybody go off and have fun, but they look at it as a true neighborhood project and something that brings the neighborhood together. You know, that really, I think, is what's going to sustain this park, because people took an active interest in it and they put their proverbial blood, sweat, and tears into building this park. So I think everyone's going to take a little bit of ownership in that and making sure that we do everything we can to maintain what you know, obviously what we all see here today. So again, I want to thank you, Madam Secretary, for your support. Obviously, this wouldn't be possible without our good friend Speaker DeLeo and providing that necessary funding that all trickles down here to the city of Revere. And I'm looking forward to many more good things and projects such as these in the future. And so with that being said, I would like to call up now our good friend, our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Maeve Valerie Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a very nice introduction, and I cannot tell you how nice it is to be back here in Revere on this maybe not so beautiful fall Saturday, but certainly a heartwarming fall Saturday. I'm very proud to be here representing Governor Patrick and my entire Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. One of the governor's top priorities in his final year in office is to invest in parks and open spaces in our urban neighborhoods, just like here in Beachmont, where people depend on and value our public open spaces. So at the governor's direction, we're working to build a new playground or renovate an old playground in every city in the Commonwealth, with the goal of completing all of those projects by the end of this year. What that means is that we have over 50 projects just like this one happening at essentially the same time all over the state. It's not the easiest program to manage, and I need to give a shout out to my staff folks, Melissa Cryan, who unfortunately couldn't be here, who's the project manager, and Sam Carson, who many of you know, who works tirelessly on these projects, and Stephanie Cooper, our assistant secretary for land programs, is here, but she has her little girl with her, so she's probably over playing on the swings or something. One of the things that my whole team will do is periodically call all of the local project managers and check in and see how things are going, just make sure they're on schedule, see if there's anything we can help with or anything we want to highlight. So back in July, our staff got in touch with Frank Stringy, your city planner, to see how things were going. And Frank explained that volunteers were about to build a new playground at DeSalvo Park, and that in September, another group of volunteers was going to build a playground at Louis Pasteur Park. Well, the next week, we checked back in with Frank to see how it had gone at DeSalvo, and he informed us that it was all built. All built. They'd built the park in a weekend, and the amazing thing was, they didn't even think that was a big deal. So at that point, we all said, there's something really special going on in Revere. So we had to be a part of it. So on September 11th, which happened to be the first day that volunteers were here at Louis Pasteur, I came here with some members of my staff, and it was wonderful. We saw here in Revere exactly what the mayor was talking about, a community, a diverse group of people coming together to build something better for their neighborhood, for their children, and for the generations to come. I also learned that people from Revere really know how to work and get things done, because I'm actually quite proud and do have buy-in in this playground, because it took myself and my staff, about 6 of us, I don't know, half an hour to 45 minutes just to build the little solar system over there. So we weren't that much help, but we had a great time. You really do extraordinary work here. But what I find most impressive and most refreshing is how ordinary it seems to all of you. Doing things as a community clearly comes naturally to this city and this neighborhood. You deserve a beautiful playground like this, and you certainly earned it through all your hard work. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to do one more thing. The governor was unable to be here today, and he and his office wanted to recognize the work that you've done here. So I have first, I want to give these citations to Dimple Rana. Dimple, are you here? Where's Dimple? Where's Dimple? I also have one for Frank Stringy, but Frank, your amazing planner, I guess is not here today, so I'm going to ask Dimple to make sure that Frank gets it. Let me get yours out, Dimple. There you go.
Right here, please, lady.
So there's yours, Dimple, and please give it to Frank and tell him how sorry I was that he couldn't be here. And of course, your wonderful, charming, very impressive mayor, Dan Rizzo. And now I get to introduce a person without whom this project and projects like it throughout the Commonwealth would not be possible. We're spending over $10 million on playgrounds and spray parks in cities across the Commonwealth this year, and we can only do that with the help of the legislature. You all know how very lucky you are to be represented by Speaker Robert DeLeo, who has been an incredible partner to the Patrick administration and to my entire team at Energy and Environmental Affairs. Speaker DeLeo understands how important projects like this are to this community, all local communities, and why we have been able to make these historic investments throughout the Commonwealth is due to the leadership of Speaker DeLeo. It is my pleasure to introduce the Speaker of the Massachusetts House of Representatives and, lucky you, your representative, Speaker DeLeo.
Thank you very much, Secretary Bartlett, for that kind introduction. And I thank you and your team and the Patrick administration for your foresight in protecting our environment and natural resources. Thank you. Although I would have preferred in my introduction to be called charming, like the mayor was just referred to. Isn't he charming? But look at him, huh? He's never going to live that down. That may come back at the Columbus Day breakfast next week. I'm not so sure. Oh, you have. But I'll tell you, Revere, with its beautiful coastline and open public spaces, has benefited from a belief that the legislature, the administration, and the city's residents share, that we can and we will improve our natural resources. Today, as we celebrate the reopening of Louis Pasteur Park, we must also commit ourselves to upholding and advancing that goal. That park is ours to enjoy, but is also our responsibility to maintain, and we must treat it as such. Revere has a long history of coming together to get things done. So many of our neighbors give their time, their talent, and resources to the city. Today, we are witnessing a vibrant example of what happens when individuals work together to accomplish something for the betterment of our city. I think we all agree that this park deserved this upgrade. Now, thanks to all of you and your work and your advocacy, this restored park and playground will serve as a safe place for children to play and for neighbors to come together. In recent years, through the Revere on the Move program, Revere Cares has made substantial gains in promoting healthier lifestyles for our citizens. It is my belief that Louis Pasteur Park will be one more resource to catalyze that positive trend. Thank you to the Revere Beachmont Improvement Committee. The committee shows so much pride in our city. I have witnessed firsthand how that sentiment has become contagious as it spreads to our neighbors, spurring them to give back to our community. On that note, I'd like to give a special thank you to the committed citizens and public servants of Revere who made this revitalization possible. To one of the, I think, probably the best mayor that we have in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts right now, Mayor Rizzo. Just don't tell Marty Walsh I said that, all right? Anyone else you could tell, but Marty Walsh. Joanne McKenna, thank you. Councilor Richard Penter, who could not be here today, thank you. Carol Ty, Ed DeVoe, and Dimple Rainier, to all of you, a sincere thank you. I also know that there were over 30 individuals, that some of whom were mentioned earlier, who contributed to making this reopening possible, and to them, thank you. The Secretary hit on an important point, which I'd also would like to mention, in that I don't know how many people realize what's going on in the city, but there are a lot of great things that are going on in Revere right now. And it's because, quite frankly, of some of the folks led by the mayor who work for the city, who plan for the city, but most importantly, the people who live here. And I say that because of the fact that, as Speaker of the House, I sometimes will hear from various secretaries, commissioners, and whatnot. Sometimes the news isn't so good. But many times, I will tell you, when it comes to this city, the news has been great. I can remember just last week, I got a call from the Secretary of Education calling me the day before the results of the MCAS results were going to come in to tell me that Revere was the only gateway city in the state to have level 1 and level 2 students. So I just want to point out, and there have been other grants as well. We see the growth of our city. We see the fact of the beautiful football stadium and athletic facilities that are going up, the schools, the new schools that are constantly being done. Those don't happen by accident. And quite frankly, I sincerely want to thank all of the elected officials, but most importantly, the people of Revere. Because of your efforts, your volunteerism, your caring for the city, that this is being done. So thank you again for inviting me here today, Madam Secretary. Gratitude to you, and of course, my good friend, the governor. And please enjoy the rest of the festivities today. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, next, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the president and founding member of the Beachmont Improvement Committee, Joanne McKenna.
So Madonna sang a song, "This used to be my playground." Well, this was my playground. Good morning, everyone. We are here to dedicate this beautiful park, built by so many hard-working volunteers from our community. A big thank you to the Revere DPW, to the Planning and Community Development Department, Parks and Recreation, Revere on the Move, Altiplay, the OEEA, the Mercurio Brothers, the Beachmont Improvement Committee, and our subcommittee that worked diligently to put this all together. And I just want to shout out a very special thanks to all the residents that came out to volunteer their time, and the neighbors that came over and brought food for all the workers. Thank you. My fondest childhood memory of where we stand today include hanging out with my friends, playing kick and stickball, and attending religious summer school, which wasn't really my favorite because my mother made me come. So I would have been on Short Beach. When the school was torn down, the Louis Pasteur Park was created. As the years passed, the park's condition deteriorated, making it inevitable that a new Louis Pasteur Park would have been built. 22 years later, this community came together and built a beautiful park where you see right now these neighborhood children can come and play. Let us praise the accomplishments of this community's pride and spirit that come together time and time again to make Beachmont a better place for our children to live. Thank you very much.
Okay. And when I was recognizing people earlier, there is another person I wanted to recognize who is here, who's also, responsible to some extent for some of the success and the word I'm looking for is the fact that Revere on the Move is around. And Kitty Bowman from Revere Cares, who has been working on community projects and a better life within our city for a long time. Thank you very much, Kitty. I'm glad you're here. Okay, finally, it's my pleasure to introduce Dimple Rana, who is the head of Revere on the Move, who took over this job from Kate in the midst of all the planning for this. And I have to say, she's been unbelievable to work with. Her, and as I said before, her team have been a blessing. I mean, they've made this project so much easier than it could have been. Dimple, thank you. Come.
Good morning, everyone. I also want to reiterate all the many thank yous to everyone who put a hand, who helped with the planning process, with the implementation of the beginning to the end of this beautiful playground here that we have. Revere on the Move, we work to make the healthy choice the easy choice in Revere. And at the core of this are safe and healthy open spaces. And this is a prime example. Also at the core of our work is creating neighborhood groups and working with existing neighborhood groups to create these neighborhood projects that really bring neighbors together, bring residents together, and take pride and ownership of our neighborhoods. I especially want to thank the Beachmont Improvement Committee. It has been a pleasure working with you. From meeting you 2 years ago and seeing all the many projects that you have done, this is just another project under your belt that we are proud to see happen. I want to bring up our new neighborhood organizer with Revere on the Move, Al Baker. We want to present a gift of appreciation to many of our friends here. So we have a picture photo book of the beginning of the playground build to the end, and we presenting this to Speaker DeLeo, to Mayor Rizzo, to Secretary Bartlett, and President of the Beachmont Improvement Committee, Joanne McKenna. And with that, I want to bring everyone together to cut the ribbon and officially open our beautiful playground.
On three? One, two, three.
This release will actually go out on Monday. We're still